Titanic. The night the unsinkable ship sank. April 10th, 1912. The RMS Titanic left Southampton, England, on what was supposed to be its first voyage to New York City. It was one of the largest and most luxurious ships ever built. Thousands of people believed they were traveling aboard a ship that was almost impossible to sink, but no one knew that this journey would become one of the greatest maritime disasters in history. Titanic carried wealthy first-class passengers, families, workers, and immigrants hoping to start a new life in America. Inside the ship were luxurious dining rooms, grand staircases, elegant cabins, and even a swimming pool. For the passengers, it felt less like a ship and more like a floating city. Everyone believed they were heading toward a bright future in New York. On April 14th, Titanic was sailing across the North Atlantic. The weather was cold, the ocean was unusually calm, and the sky was dark, but Titanic's radio operators received several warnings about icebergs in the area. The ship continued moving through the night. No one on board realized how close they were to disaster. At approximately 11:40 p.m., lookout Frederick Fleet suddenly spotted something in the darkness, an iceberg. The warning was shouted to the bridge. The crew desperately tried to change the ship's course, but the iceberg was too close. Titanic struck the iceberg on its starboard side. At first, many passengers didn't even realize that anything serious had happened, but below deck, seawater was already rushing into the ship. The damage was far worse than most passengers understood. Water continued flooding several compartments. Captain Edward Smith was informed of the situation. Soon the order was given to prepare the lifeboats. But Titanic had a terrible problem. There were not enough lifeboat spaces for everyone on board. The ship that was called Unsinkable was now slowly sinking. Lifeboats began leaving the ship. Women and children were given priority. Some passengers were still confused. They couldn't believe Titanic was actually going to sink. Far away from the ship, lifeboats floated in the freezing darkness. Behind them stood Titanic, still brightly illuminated against the night sky. As the night continued, Titanic's bow sank deeper into the ocean. The stern slowly rose higher into the air. Passengers struggled to find safety. The ship's lights flickered. Then, in the early hours of April 15th, Titanic broke apart. The massive ship disappeared beneath the freezing Atlantic. The silence that followed was terrifying. Hundreds of people were left in lifeboats on the freezing ocean. Many others never survived the disaster. Hours later, the RMS Carpathia arrived and rescued the survivors. The passengers who were saved would carry the memory of that night for the rest of their lives. More than 1,500 people lost their lives. Titanic disappeared beneath the ocean, but its story never disappeared. The disaster changed maritime safety forever. Today, more than a century later, people around the world still remember the Titanic. It wasn't just the story of a ship. It was a story of dreams, human courage, tragedy, and survival. And perhaps the most haunting part is this: the Titanic was built to cross the Atlantic. Instead, it became a legend beneath it. Some ships cross the ocean, some become history,